And now, my faithful listeners, the misery continues. Phew, that was close. Not close enough, he thought, and fell asleep. He dreamed of the piping. For real, he felt he could almost reach out and slide his palm over its green-black fissured curve. When he came back to his former state of semi-consciousness, he was able to make the connection between the piling and his current situation. It seemed to float into his head. The pain wasn't tightening. It was the lesson of the dream, which was really a memory. The pain only appeared to come and go. The pain was like the pipe, sometimes covered in something, sometimes invisible or visible, but always there. And the pain wasn't harrying him through the deep stone grayness of his cloud. He was dumbly grateful. But he was no longer cool. He was still there, waiting to return. And there was not just one pilot, but two. The pain was the pilot. The part of him knew for a long time, before most of his mind had knowledge of knowing that he was shattered pillings were his own shattered legs. But it was still a long time before he finally was able to break the dread scum of saliva that had glued his lips together and croaked out, "Where am I?" to the woman who sat by the bed with a book in her hands. The name of the man who had written the book was Paul Sheldon. He recognized it as his own, with no surprise. Sidewinder, Colorado, she said when she was finally able to ask the question. "My name is Ann Wilkes. I know," he said. "You're my number one fan." "Yes," she said, smiling. "That's just what I am." Darkness, then the pain and the haze. Then the awareness that although the pain was constant, it was sometimes buried by an uneasy compromise, which supposed was relief. The real first memory, stopping and being raked back into life by the woman's stinking breath. Next real memory, her fingers pushing something into his mouth at regular intervals, something like Kotak capsules. Only then was there was no water, only sat on his mouth while they melted. There was an incredibly bitter taste that was a little like the taste of aspirin. It would have been good to spit that bitter taste out, but he knew better to do it, because it was that bitter taste which brought the high tide over the pipe. Pipe. It's pipe. There are two, okay? There are two. Fine now, just hush. Just now, hush. It made it seem gone for a while. These things all came at widely spaced intervals. But then, as the pain itself began not to recede, but to erode, as the reversed beach piling must itself have eroded, he thought, because nothing is forever, although the child who had been would have scoffed at such heresy. Outside things began to impinge more rapidly than the objective world, which all its frightened memory, experience, and prejudice, and had pretty much re-established itself. He was Paul Sheldon, who wrote novels of two kinds, good ones and bestsellers. He had been married and divorced twice. He smoked too much, or had, before it was whatever all this was about. Something was bad had happened to him, but he was still alive. The dark gray cloud began to dissipate faster and faster. It would be yet a while before his #1 fan brought him the old clacking royal with the grinning gaped mouth of the Ducky Dabble's voice. But Paul understood long before then that he was in a hell of a jam. 4. The persistent part of his mind saw her before he knew he was seeing her. He must have understood her before he knew he was understanding her. Why else did he associate such dour, ominous images with her? Whenever she came into the room, he thought of the graven images worshipped by superstitious African tribes in the novels of H. Rider Haggard and Stones of Doom. The image of Anne Brooks as an Indian idol, African idol, out of she or King Solomon's mind was both ludicrous and queerly apt, but was a big woman who, often in the large but unwelcome swell of her bosom, under the gray cardigan sweater she always wore, seemed to have feminine curves had no feminine curves at all. There was no defined roundness of hip or buttock, or even cleft below the endless succession of wool. Wool skirts she wore in the house. She retired to her unseen bedroom to put on jeans before doing her outside chores. Her body was big, but not generous. There was no feeling about her of plots and roadblocks, rather the welcoming orifices or even open spaces, areas of hiatus. Most of all, she gave him a disturbing sense of solidity, as if she might have any blood vessels or even internal organs, as if she might be only solid animals from side to side and top to bottom. He felt more and more convinced that her eyes, which appeared to move, were actually just painted on, and they moved no more than the eyes of a portrait, which appeared to follow you to wherever you moved in the room. Well, it seemed to him that if he made the first 2 fingers on his hand to be and attempted to poke them at her upper nostrils, they might go less to an 1/8 of an inch before encountering a solid, if slightly yielding obstruction. That even her gray cardigan and frumpy house skirts and faded outside wet jeans were part of that solid fibrous, unfeathered was not really surprising at all. Like an idol, she gave only one thing, a feeling of unease, deeply steadily towards terror. Like an idol, she took everything else. Alright, my faithful listeners, I will stop it there. I don't want to read too much. It seems that this book is rather, choice of words. I hope that you don't mind the short entries, but I'm trying to find good spots to stop the video so that the video don't become too monotonous or too long and prevents me from doing any actual editing. So I will stop it from being no longer than 10 minutes. I apologize for that. So, my faithful listeners, what did you like about this book? Please leave it in the comment section below. If you want more, please like this video, and I will see you next Monday. This is the Smiling Merchant, wishing you all the fondest of adventures.